Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Friday featured member spotlight with the Apartment Association. Today we are coming to you live from my office and Mark's office here up at CORT. So feel free to take a look at the scenery while you're watching us chat today. Thank you, Mark, so much for joining us. Before we get started with Mark, I just want to remind you all of a couple of things. Don't forget we have our trade show coming up in just a couple weeks. It's going to be here quicker than we know it. So if you're interested in any participation, booths, sponsorships, anything at all, please reach out to the association. Also, don't forget our 5K for Rent is also coming up. April will be here really quickly. I know today it doesn't seem like it because it's a little dicey out there. We hope you're all watching safely and you didn't have any trouble on the roads this morning. But that 5K is always a great, fun event. Tons of people and a really good time. If you're interested in either one of those or any of the educational opportunities that we offer here at the association, please, as always, feel free to reach out. Now moving on to Mark. Mark Robertson is with CORT. I am honored and excited today. He is one of my mentors in this business, and I'm just thrilled to be able to chat with you this morning. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us about what you do with CORT now, what your title is, and a little bit about your job.
Sure. I'm an area manager, and my area consists of Cincinnati, Columbus, Nashville, Memphis, and St. Louis, and my focus is in our operations.
Gotcha. So Mark and I get to work together all the time. Our offices are right across from each other, so I'm familiar with a little bit of your history, but why don't you share, how long have you been in this industry?
I've been in this industry for 19 years and in the furniture industry for my whole life.
Wow, I did not know that.
I grew up in a contract furniture dealership,
Okay.
which sold office furniture.
How interesting. So that's how you got into it then?
That is correct.
Okay, so how
Yes.
did you land at CORT?
The feeling that I got when I interviewed with Jeff Rowe
Okay.
was just outstanding, and with the rest of the team as well.
Very cool. So do you have a most memorable story with CORT or having been in this industry for 19 years?
I think that my most memorable moment was in Cincinnati with Roy Werger from Can Do when we were back on the dock
Okay.
and getting ready to deliver some furniture. Roy was just so friendly and helpful, and we just had a great time.
That's a great memory to have. And how about advice? We have a lot of newcomers with our Next Gen committee, and we're really trying to advise and guide some of the younger generation in this industry. What would be your biggest piece of advice for them if they're just getting started?
In Cincinnati, from my travels and my experience, this is the best apartment association I've been to. No offense to the other cities
Yeah.
that I've been to, but the feeling that you get in Cincinnati and the camaraderie and the transparency and the openness of sharing of information and ideas is like nowhere else.
So definitely, I think the advice is to take advantage of that, participate in that, get involved. I think we all agree with that too. We kind of know that we're heads above the rest too.
There are a ton of resources within
Yes.
the Apartment Association in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. That's such great advice, and really something everyone should take to heart because it's true. That's how we're both here today doing this, so we're both very grateful for that. Now we're going to dive into your personal life a little bit more. Can you tell us about the last book that you read?
It was called Emotional Intelligence, EQ Applied by Justin Bariso, and it was a great book. The company is really focused on emotional intelligence training, and it was a nice complement to
Yes.
our training.
I too have read that book on your recommendation, and I would recommend it to anyone out there. Something I'm really proud of is CORT's focus on EQ training and really focusing in on our employees and how we can just be better, especially in the emotional intelligence realm. So definitely a recommended book today. How about hobbies? What do you like to do in your spare time?
I like to spend time with my family, and even though my wife Josh and our kids are in their 20s, we still are watching them grow, and when they fall, get back up, and when they succeed, it's the best feeling that I think you can have.
I completely agree with that.
And since they're all very close to home, we're empty nesters with 3 adult kids in our house most of the time.
So they're out of the house, but around
2 of them
quite
live
often.
there, and one of them goes to UC
Gotcha.
and lives down on campus, but is home quite a bit.
That's got to be a great feeling to have everyone so close.
Yep.
Good. How about a favorite food or restaurant?
Oh, my favorite food from being from Cincinnati would have to be Skyline Chili.
Awesome. I'm a Skyline fan too. Yesterday was National Chili Day, so did you participate?
A little known secret is I'm not eating meat.
Oh.
It's Lent.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
So, no.
Okay.
I didn't. I'm going to have to wait a
Okay.
couple months and
Or do some
I'll be right
vegetarian
there.
chili.
That's right.
I'm
That's
sure
an option
Skyline
now.
has an option,
Yes.
yeah. How about any pets?
We do not have pets. We had horses when the kids were growing up, and that took a lot of energy
I'm
and
sure.
time, and just because of that, never really had a dog, much to my kids' chagrin.
Right. Well, I mean, a horse. I think a lot of kids would be perfectly fine
Right.
with a horse instead of a dog.
The one child that was into horses was very happy.
Sure.
The other 2, we had to do some damage control.
Isn't that funny? You always want what you can't have, I guess. How about TV shows? Do you have any time to watch TV or any movies that you really like?
I watch the news or sports, especially my favorite sport teams, UC, Xavier, basketball.
You like UC and Xavier?
Yes, I went to Xavier.
Okay.
But both basketball teams are fun to watch.
Sure.
And,
Who do you root for in the crosstown shootout?
It depends. Whoever's better that year. I'm just happy to see a Cincinnati
I love
team.
the honesty there.
So it's going to be a rough year. I don't know if either team is going to make the tournament,
Oh, really?
but we'll see.
I don't know anything about that.
Maybe UC,
Okay.
maybe, but they're a bubble contender right now.
Yikes. I hardly keep up with that, and I think it's awesome that you just root for either one and that you admit that. How about a concert? Is there a best concert that comes to mind for you?
Well, yes. All the Robertsons can't sing a lick, and my wife probably can. And somehow our son in 8th grade got a solo.
Oh.
And he took choir because he was required to.
Sure.
It wasn't but he got a solo, and he got up, and I'm sure he was very nervous. I know he was, but he got it out.
8th grade
and that was
is brutal. Yes.
Yeah. So that was fun to watch him do that, and that was the pinnacle of our music career for the kids.
That's a fantastic answer, and I think of all the interviews, it's the first time that someone hasn't mentioned like a big rock star or something like that. So I just think that is fantastic to do. I can relate. I can think about the feeling when you watch one of your kids perform. It's pretty similar to going and seeing a great concert.
Not everybody knows this. I'm not even sure everybody in our family knows this, but the same son played the trumpet in the 5th and 6th grade, and his cousin, who's about the same age, played the violin, and we found out years later that they didn't actually play, so they just faked it.
You fake it till you make it.
So those were good concerts too. We just didn't know it at the time.
That's so funny. Oh, goodness. I wonder how often that's really happening in these kids' concerts. That's great. So, if you were an animal, what would you be and why?
That's a tough question. I think maybe a bird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what kind of bird. It would just be kind of cool to be able to fly.
Yes, I agree with you. Kind of, they're the bird's eye view is a saying for a reason. So, to just get up there and kind of see everything from that view and the freedom, I'm sure that would be really cool. So, you've talked about your family a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little more detail? You mentioned your wife Josh and then 3 kids.
Yes, my wife Josh was a sub at the high school to keep an eye on the kids at our local high school, and worked out well. And then has now gotten a staff position. She works in the library, even though the kids are all out. Our oldest daughter has special needs, and she is an aide at a preschool.
Oh, very
and
cool.
doing great. Our middle child is a son, and he's going to graduate from UC this year. He's worked at another restaurant in Cincinnati, Bob Evans, for about 6 or 7 years, and is a manager. And his fork in the road is coming up to decide if he wants to stay at a company that he likes and is doing well at, but he is not sure he wants to be in the restaurant industry.
Right. It's really impressive to get to that level and still be not even
He's a
graduated
hustler.
from college yet. So
Maybe we can recruit him at CORT.
there you go.
And then our youngest daughter's in chemical engineering in
Wow.
the intern program at UC.
Wow, impressive. Sounds like you all are busy and just leading a pretty fun lifestyle. So thank you for sharing that with us. Lastly, are there any interesting details that you want to share about yourself?
Other than my family and my furniture career, the other part of my life is I was in the Marine Corps for a tour, and my father was in World War II in the Army, and my grandfather was in World War I
Wow.
in the Army. So all just for one tour, but it always makes me proud that
Sure.
we've all served.
Very cool. That's all the questions we have. So thank you again for spending your time with us this morning. I'm sure we all enjoyed learning a little bit more about Mark. Like I said, we're coming to you from CORT showroom up here in Westchester, and we would invite any of you at any time to stop by. Ask for Mark if you're in. You may catch him here, you may not. He's on the road quite a bit, but there's plenty of people here that would love to show you around. Like I said, check out our social media for all the upcoming events, and have a great weekend. Thank you.